So he's cleaning out the garage. I have out on Craigslist, I pick up used motor oil. Well, I put that in our containment tank, you know, Mother Nature tank. You put the oil in there, you let it sit. I like to sit for 5 days. Every day I go out there on the bottom valve, crack it open, bleed off the water. Mother Nature takes out 80% of your water from your oil. There's 20% left with the science and the molecules and everything it attaches. This will take the last 20% of water out if there's water in there. If there's antifreeze mixed in it with that, those beads, did I send around the package of beads already?
Yeah.
No, the container. Oh, I'm sorry. There it is. These beads here will take out the antifreeze and water. And, excuse me, let me get some. No, I got my soda right here. I can hear myself getting forced right away. It takes out the last 20% of liquid that we have in there. It takes out the acid. That's a mix. Excuse me. That's a mix of polymer that takes out the water and the acids. And I lost my train of thought. So we're going to pour some diesel in here now. We have the oil in here already because I pre-strained it through another housing like this one here. I have a 5 micrometer here. Then I'll go down to the 1. And you can pick up all these parts at Tractor Supply. And you can pre-filter before you go inside.
You want all 5 gallons?
Yeah. And now we're adding the diesel. Container. There we go.
You get a size as big as a quarter?
Some do. They're with the science. They'll go from the size of a nickel to the size of a quarter, and they you keep an eye on it. In one of my first videos, I used to mix this with a drill and a paint mixer. And
the question, you know, the cost of that is it very expensive?
The media.
Yeah.
No, the media is the most expensive part. That's why it's this unit will sell for $700. Right now, I just poured some soda in here, and you'll see they're gelling up and eating the water that's in it. It's turning brown because it's taking the caramel color.
Yeah.
We'll pass that around again. With the lid on it, you can tip it over and you'll see that there's no liquid. I used these last night on demonstration. You can see it's still they're still sucking up. Okay, they'll start growing. You can see the difference in size. It starts out like gravel in a fish tank and grows. Now, if you try and take this bag and rip it open and say, okay, I'll sit it out in the sun and dry it out, it's not going to dry out. Well, I'll squeeze it out. You start squeezing it, it starts disintegrating in your hand. It's just like the germ soap. Rub it on your hand enough, it disappears. Same thing here. It's got the water locked up in there. It's just going to start going out into the atmosphere and just disintegrate. Now, as long as you don't sit there and squish this, it's not going to do any harm in your tank. If it breaks open in your tank, you pull the plug, go down to your home store, your 5-gallon strainer, paint strainer, pour it through, catch your beads, your liquid's going to go in your tank, twist it, put another twist tie, a pull tie on there, put a secondary bag on there, same thing, cut the tops off, you're back to normal again. Same thing when you go to wash out your tank. Now, towards the end of your bead's life, you won't get the bead bag out. Just scoot to one side, put your diesel in here, and I use a toilet brush with a stick on it, taped on, and I scrub it out. Open the drain, pour through a filter the bag again. If there's anything in there, weeds, grass, we got some grass in here today, it'll catch it. And then you just reuse that fuel once again in here. And it'll keep filtering. So you're not losing any product. You're filtering out whatever's in there. All right, power.
Question,
Yes?
cost of, to make a gallon, just roughly. You know, filter, that stuff. Have you ever calculated what it,
With the filters and everything?
you know, every time you gotta rechange to redo, you know.
Well, what we got, we have it in the list there, in the
Okay.
handout,
Uh-huh.
per gallon. When you start using it in your diesel trucks, yeah, pop the hood, thanks, Rick. When you start using this product in a pickup truck, we ask that you follow the rules and use 10% oil, 90% diesel, okay? You start up your vehicle, it's going to have that puff of smoke. When you're driving and there's no smoke, you could come up to 20%, okay? Same thing, when you drive, shut this switch off. It has an on-off switch in the lead here, and it also, once you stop, I'm jumping. So you keep building 20%, 30%. Let's say you get to 50%. Now you're driving and you got a constant smoke coming out your tailpipe. That means your engine's not burning that oil anymore, and it's just going into your hot exhaust and burning in your exhaust. So since we're doing 10s, we're going to come back from 50 to 45%. Okay? And then you're driving, the smoke's not blowing out anymore while you're driving, you know you're at your threshold for that engine. Let's go over to another piece of equipment. Do the same thing. Keep building up. Now your skid steers, your big cats, your cat loaders, you can start at 40%. Your skid steers start at 30%. Your big loaders, 40%, 50%. You'll see, we have a 950 at a company that I used to work for, and it's sitting in the yard. It's one of our yard piece of equipment, and that thing's running 25% used motor oil. And they do a lot of equipment changes, you know, hydraulics and stuff like that. They don't run it that high because they don't have it all the time. You know, they run through their volume of used product. So they just run it a little bit lower so they got product to always mix. So there's a list there to tell you what you'll be saving at those percentages.
Can you tell them how to tell it, how much it's supposed to do?
Yeah, I just went through that with the 10 and bring it back down to the 5. Your big heavy equipment is going to be the same way. The heavy equipment will blow. Some older equipment will use a lot more because it's just an older vehicle. It's worn in, and they'll burn a lot more used motor oil. It's constantly burning, but it'll be a thicker smoke. So then you know you're using too much. Just bring it back down to what you're used to seeing, and you're right at the threshold. All right. So what we're going to do now, we're going to turn on the mixer here. All right, Rick, give me some power. It's purging itself. Now we got the mixer on here. We're just mixing up the used motor oil and the diesel, getting it mixed around. So I'll just leave that go for a few minutes while we talk. Is there any more questions? These
The main thing is that the filters and everything is vital to keep your fuel clean.
Right.
The
Well,
gray part is just,
your outside filter is cleaning out your garbage, your leaves, your muck, fly wings. You know, the most important one is the media itself. This is the most important part because it's taking out your water and your acids. If you read any of your oils that you pick up, they'll say it contains detergent will clean your engine while we lubricate your engine. Well, we don't put soap in our engines. We don't use soap on steel. We use mild acids, diluted acids. acids. Well, that's what it's taking out. It's grabbing them acids. We don't want to be burning our acids. We don't want the acids going through our injectors in our pumps. So it's grabbing the acids. It's grabbing the water all at the same time. I started out cooking vegetable oil. My wife told me not to tell the whole story. Started cooking out vegetable oil. I'm on an attached garage to our house. I got young babies and my wife in the house. I'm mixing methanol. That's an explosive. Number one. Number two, I'm wearing a respirator because it's a suffocate. So if you breathe it, it's going to coat your lungs. I'm doing that next to my house with my babies and my wife in the house. I'm putting water into the vegetable oil, and then I'm using electricity at nighttime to cook it overnight. The next morning, I'm drawing water out of that, separating the oil from the water from the oil. Then I have to test it to see if I did it right with the right amount of chemicals, to see if I got fuel or if I had just made soap overnight, because that's how they make the soap. Okay. So now, our process, we're not adding anything. In the Midwest, we don't do anything different when it gets cold. We just plug in our block. When it gets 30 below zero, we add anti-gel. It's petrol, anti-gel petrol. We're not doing anything different than what we do in our trucks already. Here it's a little different. They'll be hearing me say stuff about the Midwest versus out here. So now we're just about done mixing. So now the pump shut off. The handle here, yeah, go ahead. Alright. No, leave it on. It's down, right? Okay. The handle has a lock here. We're all guys. We don't want to stand around. We're all impatient. It does not have an automatic shut off for your filling. It does shut off automatically when you let it go. It turns back on. It has the lock. Please, when you're filling up your equipment, do not walk away from it. It's gonna overflow. It's not gonna turn off like at the gas station. All right. So you can all see it flowing here. I'll put a little bit in my truck. We could put a little bit in Rick's truck. I don't have much room. Now, everybody's saying, well, you got fuel in your truck already. I want to see it run on an empty tank. The whole thing here is, yeah, I have diesel in there. I have the mix in there already. All it's going to do is bring it down to a lower percentage, 10% or 20, 30. It's not going to be where I got a quarter tank of fuel and it'll be at a 60% or 50, what I'm saying. So we'll put it in, we'll start the truck, let the truck run, and we'll answer a few questions. And I'll describe our big 250-gallon model here for gentlemen that be using more fuel, in greater volume. So we'll want to take it off the. Then we'll drag it around, and we'll ask you to just come around to the tank side, and we'll show you it going in the fuel tank. Got the hoses and cord. Okay.
You want to hook it up with a AC 110?
No, we're going to go right back to the battery.
Okay.
Because I forgot to tell them.
Hey, you can get up and come over here and look at this.
Now, remember I told you I started out cooking vegetable oil and using electricity to make energy for myself. Well, now, what we're doing, we're using our battery that gets recharged while we drive anyways. So we're not using any more extra energy to make energy. All right.
Ready? You want me to turn it on?
And we got a crew over here too. Now, if you wanted to buy a small unit like this and use it in your shop, all you would do is just hook it up to your battery charger. Plug your battery charger. Now you're using, a little energy there to send it into your truck or your units. So we'll put like 5 gallons in. It's a 2 gallon per minute pump. We don't want to go above 5. The 5, these are ones. Anything over the 5, we don't want to start blowing holes and getting the screen separated from the filter in the pump, in the filter here. You'll also know when to change the external filter, because it'll start slowing down. Your flow will just start, instead of streaming, it'll start arcing and then start dribbling. You know it's time that you're clogged up there.
So how many gallons do you think that outside filter will take?
Well, that all with the conditioning of your preconditioning of your oil, anywhere from 300 to 500. There's $7 filters through me, and you start ordering more and putting it on the shelf, and the price comes down. Quantity, you get a discount.
Yours are bigger filters, right? Huh?
My what?
Your filters are
These
bigger?
filters over here,
Now,
yeah, these are, I think these.
This is Rick's model. Rick is going to be our distributor here in New Mexico. So if you wanted to purchase a small unit, get in touch with Rick. You want to
Same
purchase a large unit, get in touch with Rick, and we'll be more than happy to take care of you all. Now, while this is filling up, Rick, kind of watch for the mark here.
Okay.
This is our 250 gallon model for the gentleman that really needs some volume. Same premise, just using more volume. 100 gallons of used motor oil, 100 gallons of diesel. Mix it up, plug in your pump here, send it through the filters, take your hose, put it right back into the tank, let it circulate for 15 minutes. Now, the only difference here is because of the volume and a square bottom instead of a round bottom, we have to wait for that 20% of water that's connected to those molecules to fall to our filters. So 9 o'clock Monday morning we made our mix. We won't use this until 9 o'clock Tuesday morning. Okay? Just so everything can flow down to the filters. 6 bags of filters compared to 2 because of the square bottom and the volume of the footprint of the tank. They'll put it in as a diamond, looking like a number 6 on the dice. 4 in the corners, 2 in the middle. Now, to clean this out, it's the same thing. You have your valve at the bottom here. Crack it open, hose it out with some diesel, and you're going to reuse it again. Okay. The bags, in order to get out the bags, you use a senior citizen claw stick. There's a box too high. It looks like a little hand that you squeeze and it grabs it. Those work fine to grab the bags and pull them out. You have so much room, you really don't need to pull them out. Scoot them over to a corner. Wash those out down with some diesel. Wash out down your tank into your 5-gallon bucket with your screen, and close it up. Reposition your filters. You're ready to go again. On the big ones.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Should you clean it out every time you've done 250 gallons? And clean it out again, or what
I
do you
would.
recommend?
You wouldn't have to do such a thorough wash out, a quick rinse out, because the volume again, 30 gallons versus 250. You're going to get a lot more settlement than just with the 30. Okay. So yeah, after each 250, you check it out. If it's not that 30, you could do 500. Rinse it out at 500. That's a good question. Thanks, Rick. On the big filters, we'll use a rope filter. You could use, this is a 1. We could get you a 5 or a 10. to put in your first filter here and bring it down to your 1 micrometer. Now, we could go as low as a 0.005 micrometer in the last, which is even better than the 1. 1 has been very sufficient for us. We've had no problems using a 1. But if you really want to get down to the nitty-gritty, you could go with a 5. And that's a little bit more expensive. I think those are $10 per filter through us. And once again, volume is discounted down. All right, let's start
Do you
this.
want another vehicle to come in here? We can put a gallon or two in anybody's vehicle.
Well, yeah, let's start up ours and show them.
Just to show it off, we back there with that. Whose is the silver one? Would you like a gallon or so in there? Here. Okay, and then somebody else wants a gallon or so in there? All right, now we're going to watch the exhaust.
Now, if we were at too high of oil, you'd be seeing, just like when you smoke a cigarette, a nice transparent smoke coming out all the time. Let me give it a rev or something. Like I said, I think Ricky had explained, we came up from Illinois, down from Illinois on the fuel. We'll be using some of Rick's oil, go back home. When you go on vacations, you take the portable unit with you, stop and get oil from any oil truck stop. Most 15-minute guys, they put that in the ground right away so you won't be able to pump it out. If like I tell you, careful where you get your fuel from. Okay, you go on vacation. Pre-make your fuel and take it with you with a mini pump. It's 30-gallon, 100-gallon tank. And pump it in when you go to the fuel station. Just leave it raw. Okay, and then you'll mix it right in your tank. Pour that in, get your truck off, pour raw in with your diesel, mix it right there in your tank there. But you filtered out your raw already. You're not hauling around all that diesel because you're buying it on the road anyway. So take it raw, that's what we did, we took it raw. We threw those two things in here, I just brought it in yellow jugs. Okay? When you, at 20%, you're getting better fuel mileage. Okay? The higher you go with the oil, it's not going to give you more fuel mileage. At 20%, you're capped. Well, 30%, 40%. Now you're into your pocket. You're saving money in your pocket. You're saving money the first 10 to 20% on mileage and your pocket. But after that, the mileage is not going to go up anymore. You're going to have your mileage already maxed out. If you're running 30, 40, 50%, now you're going into your pocket. You're saving more money on top of the mileage that you're saving. So, you really don't need to run it at a high percent unless you really want to get into the pocket. Like I explained before, I got greedy. I did not follow my rules of not going past. You're always going to want to leave 2 inches in that small container, 6 to 8 inches in your big 250-gallon tank, unless you're always cleaning it out after every tank. Then you'll leave 1 inch in the smaller one, leave 3 inches in your big one. Okay? You don't want to suck up that muck on the bottom. I got that job offer. I needed the fuel to get to that job to make a paycheck. I got greedy. I tilted it down. I sucked everything up. I did not follow my rule. Okay? I did not wait. I did not quarantine that oil from that gentleman I just picked up. I asked them, is there anything in there? Oh, there might be antifreeze. I got no problem with antifreeze. Well, the son was cleaning up the floor. Apparently, they had them up in there also. Now, just to take out sand up to a certain point, you're picking up